you have spearheaded this effort to get the UW system to cut diversity, equity, and inclusion positions. The legislature has withheld funding. We know you told WisPolitics recently that they don't deserve any money until they do this. That includes pay raises that were in the budget that you have to approve. So are you holding employees hostage to get what you want?
Well, first of all, they call it diversity, equity, and inclusion, but the reality is it's division, indoctrination, and division. That's really what it comes down to. It is really about division. That's what DEI is.
Not all DEI positions do have to do with
That's
race.
true.
You know,
Yeah.
We could talk about rural students, students with disabilities, veterans. Those are a lot of the programs that DEI targets.
No, the university system has been very good at throwing that out as a red herring. There is a small amount of DEI that is focused on that, but the vast majority, I mean, when students go to orientation at UW-Madison, it's called SOAR. Basically, they're required initially to admit their white privilege. They go through an indoctrination before they even step foot in a dorm room. That is not what we expect out of our taxpayer-funded universities. Do I think that we should do more to make sure that students of color graduate and that more opportunities are given to students no matter what their background? Absolutely. And if the DEI efforts were focused on increasing graduation rates of African Americans, getting more students of color to get into the university, I'm all aboard for that because I want a strongly diverse, strongly performing university system. But that's not really what it is. It's about indoctrination. It's about saying that if you don't believe exactly what we believe, you're not going to have the same opportunities on campus. It's about college professors really indoctrinating kids inside the classroom and saying, if you don't believe what I believe, your grades are going to be lower. I have so many examples where students are not able to say what they actually believe for fear of getting a lower grade or being somehow hampered in their own educational efforts. That's not what the university ever has been in the 150 years of Wisconsin. It is morphing into something that most of us can't recognize. So either we stop it now, or we allow the university to be something that we have never, ever imagined it would be, which is not a place of learning, but a place of indoctrination.
So on that note, later this month, the UW system is going to present a plan to the Finance Committee to try to recoup some of that money that was withheld. What would you like to see in that plan?
Well, first of all, it's got to focus on the fact that it should be race neutral. It should not be targeted at any one specific race. Affirmative action has already been found to be questionable. We know that the U.S. Supreme Court said that you can't have race in admissions, so that's got to be something. I think we should do more to attract the best and brightest to Wisconsin. We have a bill working its way through the legislature, which would say that if you're in the top 10% of any campus or the top 5% at UW-Madison, you're automatically admitted. We have far too many smart kids, perhaps because of their race, perhaps because of some kind of other criteria that aren't admitted into UW-Madison. That's a shame. So I think we need to look at how we ensure that the very best and brightest stay in Wisconsin and focus our efforts on careers that actually are in demand. We need to...
UW System President Jay Rothman, and you have that same vision of keeping the best and brightest here in Wisconsin. I'm curious, I talked to Congressman Mark Pocan on the program just a few weeks ago, and he said you are willing to compromise there.
Sure.
Are you willing to take a step back and allow some of these DEI positions to remain that you are so hardline against? Can you compromise on that?
Well, I'm willing to compromise as long as the university is willing to compromise, because what they've spent most of their time doing is defending their existing practices and not saying they're willing to make any changes whatsoever to how they do things. So yeah, I mean, I'm not doctrinaire enough to say that it has to be all my way or no way whatsoever. But I think that they have to also accept the fact that if we want to have DEI and it's focused on getting more students to come to campus from a veterans background or rural or frankly any race, I'm good with all that. But again, that means when you get to the campus, we should be focusing on how do we get the kids through? How do we make sure we have a higher graduation rate? Not kind of demanding a certain ideology. And that's really where we have gotten to. So until they deal with the ideological indoctrination, I'm really not going to give on that, but on other things, I'm certainly willing to work together to find an answer.